In June 2026, the U.S. Air Force awarded SHIELD AI production contract to provide the mission autonomy for the Collaborative Combat Aircraft (CCA) program. That was just a month ago. Whatever you're building's working. What are you going to achieve with this program?
Yeah, this is an extremely exciting effort as well. And the Air Force has a vision for these CCAs that are one of leveraging these uncrewed systems as an extension to the human pilot as they operate, supporting them in flight, in missions, sending them out ahead, and similar types of mission sets and strategies. Again, giving us that ability to offset humans, to extend mission impact and effect without putting humans in and at risk. So this is a program where we're deploying our Hivemind AI pilot on board these CCAs, that they're collaborating with humans, and again, achieving that sort of mission set that puts humans a bit further away from the fight.
You're looking at, say, just use the automotive term, the hybrid. So you have the human pilot, you have the autonomous pilot. Does the human pilot have any control over that autonomous pilot as part of that program? Say, go here, go there, or is that autonomous pilot fully autonomous?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the way to think about how humans interact and engage with our Hivemind pilot is one of a teammate where you have different levels of control. The system has the capacity to really think for itself and make decisions. But of course, as I said earlier, we want humans to be on the loop. We want humans to have decisive oversight when these systems are asked to do particular things where we need human judgment. But at the same time, you have scenarios like in Ukraine where you're going to have contested environments, you're going to have loss of communications, you're going to have loss of the ability for humans to really interact with these systems. And these systems have to be able to think for themselves during that period of time. Now, you might ask, well, then are they able to achieve the mission outcomes without getting human permission to do that? No, they'll come back and they'll ask for permission, and then they'll go pursue the mission set and similar. But the idea here is pretty simple, and that is you have to build these systems to be able to think completely by themselves, because they're going into these environments and conditions where it's just not possible for humans to interact with them just from a technology, from a physics perspective. But then when humans are interacting with them, you're not really trying to control everything that they're doing. You're asking them to engage in particular tasks, maybe asking them to do particular behaviors to support a different mission level outcomes. And then the systems themselves are thinking about how to reinforce and achieve that intent and objective. And realistically, in those types of environments and conditions where the environment changes rapidly, where conditions change rapidly, you need to be able to have that onboard intelligence to be able to adapt and be resilient during those periods of time, because humans themselves are facing their own cognitive burden and challenges in those conditions. And so having that intelligence system operate as a teammate, where you're able to task it and ask it to do things, where you're able to have levels of control, where ultimately, if you want to just take complete control of it, of course you can. But being able to adjust on the fly is essential to making these systems operable in these extremely challenging environments.
They're challenging environments, and at some point, I'm not an ethics attorney, but at some point, governments and militaries are going to have to let the AI make the decision, just because where I believe the future of combat is going is part of the CCA program. The Air Force is implementing an autonomy government reference architecture. Talk us through that, please.
Yeah, the autonomy government reference architecture, or AGRA, is this idea that it's possible. It's very similar actually to what I was talking about earlier with Hivemind. It's this idea that it's possible to have a consistent reference architecture for these AI pilots that allows for modularity, that allows for the ability to switch between different types of pilots. And the concept here that the Air Force is putting forward, and it's being adopted more broadly, is that they don't want to have vendor lock-in. They want flexibility, they want transparency, they want modularity, they want to be able to bring in the best of breed, if you will, of AI pilots, the most performant, and not be fundamentally locked into a specific vendor. And it becomes very important when you start to talk about these AI pilots, because the advances in technology and performance change rapidly, improve rapidly. And the ability to have the flexibility to switch between providers, to pick the best provider, and or swap out different components of it, becomes a best case scenario for, let's say, the US citizens, because you are not locked into a specific vendor. You are not locked into what they choose to do. You are not locked into necessarily their price point, and you're creating a competitive market where the best capability wins.
I'm just going to do this. No vendor lock-in is awesome, because to me, as a United States citizen taxpayer, I love it because costs can go down. As a pro-technological person and a capitalist, let the best technology win at the end of the day. And if you sit back and you look at this as, okay, I mean, let's just go back to old cartoons, the guys chomping on the cigar. How was this able to be possible? Because I think this requirement is awesome.
Yeah, I think it's a great requirement as well. And particularly as we were building Shield AI, it was the case that the ability to have that flexibility, that modularity baked into it, allows entrance into the market, and you're not being displaced by large incumbents. So it creates, as you just noted, an opportunity for multiple participants to engage. Now, in terms of the no vendor lock-in, this isn't just a US construct. We see it across the globe. This idea of sovereign AI, sovereign autonomy, ownership over data, ownership of that IP, the ability to have that modularity and flexibility in what technology you're creating and how you're deploying it. And again, because every country is going to have different ways that they want to use it and different standards and expectations and requirements. That's something that we see at a global level as just incredibly important. And you can really see that within the context of these software-defined systems and the way that you build the brain for these systems, the intelligence for them, because the technology is moving so quickly. If you were locked in, you could get caught in a scenario where you're just working with systems that are not as intelligent, not as capable. And in the future, the future fight is an autonomous fight. It is driven by the pace and the level of intelligence of those systems. So it's a critical objective and critical requirement at a global scale.
Billions and soon trillions in value will be created in the autonomy economy. By the time a trend becomes consensus, the alpha is already gone. The gap between uncovering signals and reading headlines is widening fast. When it's a headline, it's no longer a signal. Enter Autonomy AI. We decode signals before they move markets, giving you conviction in the autonomy economy. Autonomy AI. Your models, our intelligence. Visit autnmy.ai.